Hey guys, techmadeezy, and thank you so much for clicking on our video today. Well guys, I've got a small one here. This is Bluetti's smallest power station, I believe. It's the Bluetti AC2A. And it's 300 watts though, which is really nice. It doesn't have a huge battery, so you're not going to be powering large appliances. But we're going to be doing testing in this video. It only weighs 7.9 pounds or 3.6 kilograms, which is really, really nice. This is great for powering like phones and tablets, really small electronics. In this video, what we're going to do is a super quick unboxing like you know. We're going to do close-up, so we're going to go around the unit and show you it. We're going to go over detailed specs, and then we're going to do a bunch of tests. We're also going to do our refrigerator tests. Again, not normally made for that, but people like to see that test, so we're going to do that. So why don't we go ahead and get this party started? Hi, this is Al from techmadeezy with a really quick message. The video you're about to watch is sponsored. We received this product from the vendor. But keep in mind, we will be very honest with you as we review the product. That is very important to us. If you like our video, I sure hope you give us a thumbs up. I hope you share our video. And last, I really hope you subscribe and become a part of the family. Thank you. All right, we're going to pull up a slide so that you can see what we're going to be covering in this video. All right, and if you want, take a moment, pause this, and look it over, but we're going to go ahead and get started with the video. This is our timestamp slide. Again, you can pause this and review it. We'll have the timestamps in the video description as well, but let's get started. Let's go ahead and get this unboxed. And there it is. Man, that thing is tiny, I'll tell you. And I thought the EB3A was small. This is actually smaller. So we do get a user manual. We get a grounding screw. Looks like Bluetti is really making sure all the power stations are grounded. You get a solar cable, which is great, right? You need that. And you get a AC cord. This is 16 AWG. All right, and that's everything that you get. Let's go ahead and check this out. Let's go ahead and start off with some basics. So as you know, this is the Bluetti AC2A. And MSRP on this is $249. Now, this is a 300 watt power station. It has a feature called powerlifting mode, which means when you turn that on, it can go up to 600 watts. But keep in mind, that's really for resistive loads like an electric blanket or a hair dryer. So that's not something you want to experiment with if you're not sure. I highly recommend leaving it off just to be safe, unless you know you're using those types of products. Now, there's no surge rating on this. So be aware, it's probably going to not go above 300 watts. Again, 120 volt, 2.5 amp. It is pure sine wave, and we're going to test that in this video. It has pass-through charging, and we're going to test that as well. The battery capacity on this is 204 watt hours. So it's similar to an 8 amp hour battery. This is a lithium iron phosphate battery with 3,000 charge cycles, and then it's 80% plus. So again, really good battery in here. By the way, the inverter does have a UPS, and they say it'll be 20 milliseconds or under, so that's not bad. It has Bluetooth. It does not have Wi-Fi. You can control it from the Bluetti app, so that's good. Again, via Bluetooth, so not Wi-Fi. The weight on this is 7.9 pounds or 3.6 kilograms. This thing comes with a 5-year warranty, which is nice. Now let's continue on with specs and then we'll go ahead and take a close look. So going over AC outlets, again, 300 watts. All right, you've got two of them. USB-A, you have two USB-A ports. They're 12 watts. And then you've got one USB Type-C that's 100 watts. The car outlet supports 12 volt, 10 amp, maximum of 120 watts. The solar on this is 200 watts max, 12 to 28 volt, or 8.2 amp. And they say you can charge this in about an hour and a half as long as you get 200 watts. If you don't, it'll take longer. Why don't we go ahead and just take a close look at this. Let's go ahead and turn it on so you can see the screen. Again, a nice little screen. It's definitely small, but it shows your input and your output wattage. It does show your battery percentage, and on the bottom it will show your charge or discharge time as you're using it. It's got a dedicated button for power, a dedicated button for AC, and a dedicated button for DC. All right. As you can see down here, you've got one USB Type-C 100 watt and two 12 watt USB Type-A's. Here are your AC outlets. And here's where you would plug in a car charger or the solar cable that you get. And again, it is 200 watts max. And then here is obviously where you can plug in if you need to charge something using a car charger. Now, as we look at it from the top, you'll see that it's a flat top, which is nice. It's got an actual handle, which has a little bit of grip on the handle. So really easy to carry, by the way. On the left, you've got just some ventilation. On the right, here's where you plug in the AC cord that they give you. So you don't have a big, power brick to carry with you. Grounding adapter, see that? So this is that screw I was talking about in the beginning. I like that they are promoting grounding your power stations, which is really good. On the back of the unit, you've got, specs and warnings and information. And on the bottom, well, that should be pretty simple. You've got 4 rubbers on the bottom, so it won't really scratch anything, which is nice. And that is, again, look at this handle, right? That is our quick look at the AC2A. I'm going to bring up a couple of slides. This first one is on dimensions and temperature notes. This is in the user manual, but hit pause if you want to review that. And the next slide is about powerlifting mode. Now this is in page 19 of the user manual. And, the bottom line with powerlifting mode is it is off by default. When you're going to use it, you turn it on. But keep in mind, I highly recommend not having it turned on unless you're going to be using it for resistive loads. It'll be able to support up to 600 watts, which is nice. But examples would be electric blankets, kettles, hair dryers, and other heating devices. All right, hit pause, but we're going to move on with the review. From the Bluetti manual on page 7 and 8, some helpful storage instructions. Again, make sure you follow these. If you don't, you could void your warranty or have some issues if you have a warranty claim. Okay, this is something that I include in every one of my power station videos moving forward. It's called Know Before You Buy. And my goal with this is that you don't go out and buy something that is not going to work for you. All right? I don't want you spending the money. I don't want you to have the headache. And I can tell you how this started. I had a friend that bought a power station, and it was a small one. And because it was a power station, I believe she assumed it would power her coffee maker. And so she was extremely disappointed. And after talking with her, I tried to explain it's more about knowledge and understanding. And so that's why I put together Know Before You Buy, because I want you to think about a few things that I'm going to go over in this section So let me get started with number one. Number one is, what do you want to power? You have to just stop for a minute and say, you know what am I using this for? Is it for a camping trip? Is it for a road trip? Am I buying this in the case of an emergency if my power goes out? Am I taking this to a cabin that we go to every once in a while? Right? So what do you want to power? Refrigerators, TVs, phones, you may be the internet, a laptop, LED lights. So take a moment, write that down. What do you want to power? Number two, do you know how much power your appliances and device require? You probably don't. Most people don't. I learned so much in the last couple of years, and I still don't know everything. So I'm going to be showing you an accessory towards the end of this video that I highly recommend you get, because it's going to help you, determine how much power your laptop uses, your TV uses, your phone uses. But let's stick to this page here. So number two, how much power? So you need to know that, okay? And the other thing is, some of these devices have startup wattage, surge wattage. If you're going to be powering a refrigerator uses wattage, but then it has a compressor that kicks on to make the refrigerator cold, and that can use hundreds of watts, especially older type refrigerators. Let's look at some examples real quick on the bottom. LED lights can use 5, maybe 10 watts. Those are the newer LED lights, right? Laptops can use 100. They could use more. It just depends on how old it is. Is it a gaming laptop, TVs can vary. New TVs use 100 to 200 watts, those thin TVs. But if you have a larger one, it could use 300 watts. If you have an older one, well, those can use like 300-400 watts. And what about a CPAP, right? If you have to sleep overnight and you have to use a CPAP, well, those can vary from 50 to 150 watts, probably more, probably less. Let's take a look at the next section. So here's part 3. How long, right? How long will you need to power the appliances or devices? Now, again, let's just say it's for an emergency, right? Maybe your power goes out once a year for like 8 to 12 hours. Let's use that as an example. All right? But you have to know, or at least have an idea before you make a purchase, because how long really connects with the battery size of the power stations. So let's look at the next slide. So let's put it all together, right? Number one, what do you want to power? What devices or appliances? Have a list of that. Number two, how much power do the appliances and devices require? Now, the tool or accessory I'm going to show you coming up is going to help you do that. And number three, how long will you need to power them, right? Number three, again, pertains to the size of the battery, right? But number one, and number two really pertains to the power of the unit, because each of these power stations have different power ratings. So here's an accessory that I'm going to recommend. And the brand, don't worry about the brand, because sometimes this brand's not available. I'll make sure links are in the description. But this device here, and I'm going to demo it in a moment so you can see it. I'm going to show it to you. It's real simple. But if you're new to it, it's intimidating, right? So this sells for around $25. And you can connect devices and appliances up to 1,875 watts. So just be aware, or 15 amps. Now, again, I don't expect you to know that, but I have to tell you that, because if you plug in, let's say, a 3,000 watt toaster oven, it's not going to work on this, okay? But let me demo it for you. But what this will do is it will help you understand the wattage that your devices and appliances use. So let's check out the demo. So we're going to do a simple demo, so you know what this device is about. Again, it doesn't cost much, first of all, right? I think it's around $25. And depending on the brand that's available, we'll put a link in the description. But just realize also that you can't plug everything into this. I believe there's like an 1,800 watt limit and a certain amount of amps. Now, I know that's complicated, but if you want to know how many watts your light is using, how many watts your refrigerator is using, how many watts your laptop uses, your phone. This is perfect for it. Okay? So this is plugged into my outlet, as you can see on the wall, and now I've got this light plugged in here. So all I need to do now is turn on the light, and let's see how many watts it uses. Now, again, it is on the watt screen, and this does do more than watts, so just be aware, okay? You can actually figure out kilowatts, which is how your electric company bills you. But I don't want to get that complicated. So let me turn the light on. And look at that. We're using 6.3 watts on the LED light. That's really good, right? And again, plug in your laptop, plug in your phone. Again, you'll learn more about the wattage that your appliances use, even your coffee maker. But if this was helpful, give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And we're going to continue on with the review. All right, so you just saw know before you buy. And of course, the test that we did in that little tool that you can get, it'll be in the description. I hope that was helpful. Let's talk about estimated run times now. Keep in mind, this is a small battery. It can support 300 watts, but the battery's really small. So this is going to be really good for like phones and like iPads and maybe laptops. But let's go over some numbers. So a small college refrigerator, maybe if it used 75 watts, let's say, you can run that for about 2 hours. Now, keep in mind with refrigerators, they don't consistently use power. But if you have an old refrigerator, it can actually use a lot of power when the compressor kicks on. But a small refrigerator, if it used 75 watts consistently, you'd be able to run it for 2 hours. We are doing a refrigerator test. You're going to want to see that. Now, a full-size refrigerator, let's say use 200 watts, you can get an estimated, like, not even an hour, right? I mean, this is a small battery. Now, our refrigerator is fairly new. We're going to definitely get longer than an hour. I know it. But, older refrigerators that have that compressor that kicks on to, keep everything cold from time to time really uses a lot of powers. Older refrigerators can use 400, 500 watts when the compressor kicks on. Now, what about home internet? What if you just want to have your router and your modem running and it uses a combination of a combined 50 watts? Well, you can probably get about 3.75 hours. A fan, maybe using 60 watts, that's usually a decent sized fan, you can get about 3 hours with this power station. An LED light, now they use about 5 watts, maybe 10. You can get 16 hours with a 10-watt LED light. And a CPAP machine, let's say you had one that used 100 watts. You can get about an hour and a half, a little more than an hour and a half. What if you had a laptop that used about 50 watts? You could run that for about 3.75 hours. What if you have an iPad 12.9 inch and you want to charge it? You could probably charge it about 5 times. An iPhone 12, you could probably charge about 18 times, and that's just a regular iPhone 12. What about a Samsung S21 Ultra? That's a big one. You could probably get about 13 charges. Let's go ahead and take a minute and show you what I call some must-have accessories. Now, this first one has to do with the USB ports. Let's say you want more USB Type-C ports, and you'd like to convert the USB Type-A's. There's an adapter for that, and basically, this is it, this little adapter. So it's USB-A on one side and USB-C on the other. And all we do is put it in the right direction, and we've just converted a USB Type-A to a Type-C, and now you have 2 Type-Cs. But what if you want the opposite? What if you want more USB Type-A's, and you're not really going to use a Type-C? Well, this is the adapter. It's actually a Type-C to Type-A adapter. Again, you put it right in the USB Type-C. Now you have 3 USB Type-A's. The next accessory, I have 2 light options. What if you want light? So I'm going to show you them. Let's go ahead and check that out. So here's the first light accessory. This plugs into USB. It is angleable, right? So you can angle it any way you want. And let me turn off the light so you can see how bright it is. It's actually pretty nice. Again, doesn't use much power either. So now, as you can see, we now have light. You tap the corner, it turns it off. I believe this is sold in a 2-pack. But again, it doesn't use much wattage. It doesn't even use a watt, to be honest with you, because you would see, any kind of output on the display. So that's one light. And again, I like that it's adjustable, depending on where you want it to be. Let's check out the next light real quick. All right, I didn't turn it on yet. It's basically a round, out of the way light. And you just put it in the USB-A slot. And then you turn on DC. Now, let me show you that one. All right, so it's dark right now. And as you can see, it does a pretty good job lighting up the area here. So just off and on. And those are the recommended accessories. All right, we're going to start a couple of tests with the AC2A. Look how tiny that thing is. Can it actually power this 55-inch TV? The TV lights we have behind it, the router, the modem, the security cameras, and that Dyson fan? Well, I guess we'll find out. Well, here we are with this tiny little power station. And there goes my girl, Brooklyn. All right, DC is on temporarily just to keep the screen on. I'm going to turn that off now. We're going to watch a startup wattage. I'm going to turn this on. Everything's plugged in. So let's turn on AC and keep an eye on the small screen. Okay, 78, 121. All right, the TV's coming on. We got 160, 167. So there's the TV coming on. All right, the lights on the back of the TV are on. We have 171, 166. And the TV is going to turn off as it normally does because it's connected to a Roku. I don't know why that happens with the Roku. But once that goes through, we'll turn on the Dyson fan and kind of see what type of wattage we're dealing with here. And again, that TV is just doing the Roku dance right now. All right, well, I'm going to turn the fan on. But if you see a dip in wattage, it's because the TV turns off. Let's turn the fan on. And I'm going to probably turn it on high. We're at 226. But then again, you see that drop. The TV just turned off for a moment. It's coming back on in a minute. There it goes. And we've got, with the Dyson fan on high, 237 watts or so. And it says it'll run it for about 0.3 hours based off 33% charge. Okay, so 218 watts now. The lights on the back of the TV went off. They normally do. They don't always stay on. But that's a success. I mean, we're running a little over 200 watts. The modem, the security cameras, the router, everything is coming on. The box is coming on right now. So there you go. What else can we throw at this small power station? All right, we're in the techmadeezy kitchen trying to answer some questions. So you're interested in the AC2A or maybe another power station. The question is, can this small power station power a coffee maker in general? First of all, I will tell you, it will not power the Keurig coffee makers. This thing uses 1400 watts, and many Keurig coffee makers use about 1000 watts. Your average cheap coffee maker uses about 800 watts. We went out and bought like a coffee maker from Walmart, like a plastic, just a basic coffee maker, thinking we could probably use that for testing. But that darn thing uses 800 watts. And what about a microwave? Nope, not a chance. Those things use a ton of wattage. But the next question is, can it power a refrigerator? Well, guess what? We're going to test this to see if it can not only power the refrigerator, but for how long. Let's check that out. All right, well, good morning. We are going to start our refrigerator test with the Bluetti AC2A. I mean, look how tiny this thing is. And we're going to see how many hours we get with the AC2A. We're not getting days. This thing's got a small battery. It probably will not work for an older refrigerator. Now, I'm going to put up an image in the right-hand corner. Take a look at that. That is the model number to our refrigerator and some helpful information. But we're going to go ahead and turn on the Bluetti AC2A, and we're going to watch our startup wattage. All right, it just kicked on. 105, 170. All right, and then it dropped to 0. All right, so it's 9:09 a.m. and you just saw 170 watts for a quick minute. Now, keep in mind, this refrigerator is cold. It's not been off, so the compressor didn't kick on. But when it does, this refrigerator will use about 200 and something watts when the compressor kicks on. That's the most I've ever seen. Now, if you have an older refrigerator, those can use 400 watts when the compressor kicks on or more. But anyway, it's 9:09 is when we turn this on. Let's see how long this refrigerator test goes. Okay, we're 1 hour in. It's now 10:09. Let's see what we got left here. 84% after 1 hour. All right, so that's not bad. I mean, this thing is going to last a couple of hours if you need it to power your refrigerator. Again, if it's an older refrigerator, that's going to probably be a different story. 84%, 1 hour in. 2 hours in, let's see where we're at with 2 hours on the AC2A. 58%. 58% left on the battery. 2 hours powering the refrigerator. Not bad so far. All right, 4 hour check, a few minutes past 4 hours, 1:14. And let's check this out. We've got 11% left. It's using 121 watts right now for the refrigerator, but we've got 11% left 4 hours in. Listen, that's impressive, right? That this little guy can power a refrigerator for 4 hours. Obviously, if you only needed to do it for 2 hours, you could still plug things in like your phone, stuff like that. Not bad. We are coming on to 4.5 hours. And we are at 1% with 107 watts going out. Check that out. 1%, almost 4.5 hours. Not bad at all. Wow. Spoke too soon. This thing just turned the refrigerator off. It's at 0%. And that's it. So, almost 4.5 hours. That's pretty impressive. One question you might be asking, can you car charge the AC2A? Well, you can. Now, it doesn't include the cable. We'll put one in the description. But as you can see here, we've got an XT60, a regular XT60 cable, a Bluetti cable that's plugged into our car charger. And we'll plug that in. And then you'll see how many watts we get on the input side. All right, 18, 40, 66, 93, 112, and I think that's probably all we'll get. So we're getting a little over 100 watts, and yeah, we're able to car charge the AC2A with the optional cable. Again, we'll put that in the description. Now we're going to check and see how long it takes to charge this thing. And honestly, with a small battery, it shouldn't take too long, but the wattage is pretty decent. We're going to put it on turbo mode. All right, but let me plug this in on the side. One-handed usually is pretty fun. All right, so we are turning on now, and let's see what kind of wattage we got going in. Input right there, 86. All right, 110. We'll keep an eye on that. So 137 will make the start time. And let me show you, by the way, when you go into the AC2A on the app, all right, I'm going to show you how to make sure, turbo mode is on for charging. Give me 1 second. All right, so one-handed action here. We're going to go over to the little bolt in the corner. And when you go down here, you see where it says charging mode turbo. If you click that, it'll give you 3 options. Silent, which is really slow charging. Turbo is going to be the fastest, and as you can see, it's now 263 watts, and I think that's the highest. If you switch it over to standard, just give it a second, it is going to lower that. So that's standard at 124 watts. I'm going to go back and I'm going to choose silent for a second. All right. And the fan turned off just now, and we're at 77 watts. So it says it's about 2.6 hours to charge. Now let's go back, switch it to standard. The fan goes on. 1.6 hours for charge time, 124 watts. And turbo. Fan comes on higher. All right, it says 0.8 hours. So we'll find out. 263 watts. And we started at 137. 30 minutes in. 30 minutes, and we have 50% charge in 30 minutes. 263 watts. All right, we're an hour into charging. I'm going to have an apple soon. It's a good apple there. It's a Gala apple. Anyway, 1 hour of charging, and we're at 96%. And now it's down to 161 watts. So I guess it's just slow charging towards the end. But 1 hour, and we're at 96%. I'm going to eat that apple. 246, 100% charged. 246, 100%. All right, so one of the things I highly recommend that you get when you get a power station is make sure the power station has pass-through charging. And that means when you're charging the power station, right, refilling the battery, you can actually plug something in and still use it. Now, believe it or not, there are some power stations out there that don't have pass-through charging, and that means simply that while you're charging it, you can't do anything with it. And the Bluetti AC2A, let's turn this on for a second. I'm going to plug it in and show you it has pass-through charging. So let me plug it in so we can get a charge. All right, give it a second. We'll make sure we've got a charge coming through. There it goes, 67, 104, 129. So as you can see here, it's receiving power from the AC cord. And I have a battery here on a charger. And what we're going to do now is just turn on AC to see that while we're charging this, we can actually power something else. So the AC is on. And you can see here that the charger is now on and powering and charging the battery. And you'll see here that the unit starts to make up some of the wattage. So it is now receiving 480 something watts from the AC outlet and outputting 240 for the charger. And that is pass-through charging. Definitely make sure you get that if you get a battery power station. Now, the next thing I highly recommend that you get when you buy a power station is make sure that the AC outlets are pure sine wave. That'll be in the specs. Now, Bluetti is very well known for having power stations that have pure sine wave outlets. And what that is simply is when you plug something into your home AC outlet, that's actually the cleanest power you're going to get. But when you're plugging in items into your power stations, there are power stations out there that are not pure sine wave. And so if you're plugging in a fan, for instance, you might hear a humming noise. If you're plugging in a projector or a TV screen, you might see some distortion if the power station's not pure sine wave. But let's go ahead and check out and do the demonstration to show you that this AC2A is pure sine wave. Now I'm going to turn on the AC outlet. We're going to see what type of voltage we're getting. So let me hit AC outlet, and we are getting 120 volts. All right, so that's pretty good there. Now let me just switch this over so we could see if it's pure sine wave. All right. Okay. And there you go. Very, very smooth lines, right? So that's pure sine wave. Now, what if we plugged in the device here and saw that we had a load? Let's create a load and see if we still have pure sine wave power. All right, so this is going to start to power it. And then what we'll do is we'll look at the wave to see that it's actually still pure sine wave. So there it goes. All right, the unit's on. And still pure sine wave, right? I mean, it's a little jaggedy, but definitely still pure sine wave power. And that is a perfect example of pure sine wave, something you should definitely get in your power station when you get one. Our next test is a function called a UPS. Some people want to buy these and use them as a UPS, an uninterrupted power supply. Now, the Bluetti is rated at 20 milliseconds or faster. That's pretty fast for this little unit. But normally, uninterrupted power supplies are 5 milliseconds or faster. So although Bluetti uses the term, they're definitely not as fast as a normal UPS. But as a power station, they're actually pretty fast. And what we're doing here is we're actually charging this. So this is actually being plugged in. We've got it plugged into the AC outlet, so it's actually being charged. You can see here that the unit is receiving 314 watts. But we've got a light connected to it. And it's connected to the AC outlet, and it's currently using 48 watts. Now, that's a lot for a light bulb, but that's because this is an older light bulb. It's not an LED. So change your light bulbs to LED, and they'll use 5, maybe 10 watts, 48 watts for that one bulb. But how fast will it switch from grid power to battery power? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to watch the display as best we can, but we're also going to watch the light to see if we have a flicker. Now that switch there is actually powering the outlet. So when I hit that switch, we're going to basically watch the light, and we're going to watch the unit to see how fast it switches over. All right? I'm going to count to 3 and then hit the switch. 1, 2, 3. So you saw the flicker, and it's automatically powering 53 watts out of the AC outlet. Okay? Now the AC inverter uses a little bit of power itself. Now, pretty quick still. I'm going to go ahead and hit the switch and turn it back on. All right, so it's back on. And we'll do it one more time just to help. And we'll watch the light in the room, and we'll watch the display a little closer. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And there you go. That is our simple test of UPS, uninterrupted power supply, with the AC2A. All right, we're in the kitchen. We're going to do some testing on this AC2A. Now keep in mind, this is a 300 watt power station. It doesn't have a surge rating, which is weird. Couldn't find that. But it does have power lift mode, which supposedly will go to 600 watts. But keep in mind, that's only with resistive loads like blankets, electric blankets, kettles and hair dryers. But we're going to go ahead and turn the AC outlet on and see what we get with this charger. We'll try to get our 300 watts. All right, AC outlet is on. We're getting power. And we'll see what we're getting over here. So 128, 168, 206, 221, 239, 246, 255, 262. All right, so it looks like that's about the most we're going to get out of that charger. Let's go ahead and try something else. All right, this is a dual charger, but we're only going to put a battery on one side. Let's turn this on and see if we can at least get that 300 watts. All right, we're getting some power. And let's see. 160, 200, 220, 246, 264. All right, we're going up. 283, 293, 300, 307, 309. All right, 309 is the highest so far, and it's holding it. I mean, it's doing its job, right? 300 watt, doing its job, no issues. We went above 300, and yeah, we're holding at 309. Well, there you go. That's a quick, successful test with the AC2A. We're going to do our noise test now, so you could see if this is noisy or not. Now we're going to first test the sound of the room. Then I'm going to plug this in, and I'm going to run a 300 watt load in the other room so we could see how loud this gets. So let's first check the sound in the room and see what we're dealing with. Okay, the fan is on. It has 65 watts going out. pretty quiet. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do our solar test on the Bluetti AC2A. And we're going to be using this 200-watt solar panel. Okay, now the Bluetti AC2A does have limits. You can't just connect any solar panel to it. So let me bring up the specs of the AC2A so you can see the solar requirements, or limitations I should say. So I'll pull that up on the right side of the screen. So the AC2A can handle 200 watts of solar, 12 to 28 volt, 8.2 amp. All right. Now, the Bluetti panel that I have, this is the PV200. Now, this is 200 watts, and it is 26.1 volt and 10 amp. Now, that shouldn't make a big difference. Normally, you want to stay within the specifications, but it should work fine. All right. You definitely don't want to go over the open circuit voltage. Be careful, don't do that. But let's check this out. Now, as you can see here, I've got a couple of things that I use for my solar tests. I have a solar angle guide, and this is just something you lay on the panel to try to get the right angle so you get really the most power out of that, panel and the sun. So I'll demonstrate that. Very inexpensive. We'll make sure the links are in the description. We have a MC4 disconnector tool, and that's made to disconnect the Bluetti solar cable that we're going to be connecting to the power station, right, to this cable. So once we connect it, it just makes it a little easier to disconnect. So we'll show you that. And of course, we always recommend longer solar cable so you can keep the power station close by and you can put the solar panel out further. All right, so we've got the panel out here in the best place possible. It's not cloudy. It is cold though. It's about 35 degrees. So this is kind of the best angle we could get with this panel. And as you can see here, the dot is creating a shadow, but it's higher. I mean, if I could lift this panel up, I could get the shadow in the center, but I can't. So that's the best we got. Let's go ahead and do our test. All right, here we are. We've got our Bluetti solar cables, and we're just going to connect them to the longer cable we're currently using. So click them right in, and then you take the XT60 and you plug it right in the front. Let's see what this thing gets. All right, we got some wattage coming in. 37, 62, 89, 89. So it looks like we're getting 89 was the highest that we're getting there. All right, so it's averaging out to 81 watts. It's a 200 watt panel, and the sun is as good as it's going to be today. So we've got 78%. It says it'll take about a half hour to charge to 100%. All right, there we go. We're in the 90s. All right, and that is our simple solar tests and how you connect it and everything. So the next question is, how do you disconnect these? Sometimes you can pinch this in. It doesn't work all the time, and that's what this little tool is about. You see how it has the two pieces, and what you want to do is get in here with the pin. So you take this and you lay it underneath like so. All right, you're going to lay it underneath where those two pins are touching those two, and then we should now be able to pull it apart. You see that? Because it actually pushes in these two pins. I'll put the link in the description for this accessory. All right, it's time for us to go over our pros and our cons. Now, I'm going to start off with the cons, and I only have one con, and then I've got a bunch of pros. So the only con I have is this thing doesn't have a surge rating. It's not on their website, it's not in the manual, so that's kind of odd. Now, it does have that powerlifting feature, but again, that's only for resistive loads. Please go back to our timestamps and you'll see a section on powerlifting. But let's talk about the pros. So number one, this is small and super light. Only 7.9 pounds or 3.6 kilograms. Very, very portable, which is nice. It is great for small electronics like phones, tablets, maybe plugging your laptop in, drone batteries, really, really good. We even powered our refrigerator with this thing. You got to check the test out. It's not made for that, but we're known for that. So check out the refrigerator test when you get a chance. The screen, love the screen, right? Small, clear, bright, easy to read, gives you exactly what you need. So we like that. This is super quiet. Check out our testing section. Amazing. Even under a load, this thing is super quiet. So we showed you what the normal environment was and under almost 300 watts, and it was really quiet. The UPS on this thing, right? They call it the uninterrupted power supply. 20 milliseconds or faster in our testing, really quick. So again, check that out. Very impressed. No power brick, right? You just have an AC cord to plug in, but you don't have another brick to bring with you to power this and charge it, which is nice. And lastly, lithium iron phosphate, right? Great battery. 3,000 cycles on this thing, and then it goes to 80% plus. If you maintain it correctly, this thing can last you 10 years, maybe longer. See our section on maintenance. We did put that, we grabbed it from the manual. So see storage and maintenance on this. But guys, that was our cons and our pros. Really nice machine. So what do you think? I mean, it's a nice little unit, isn't it? I'll tell you. I do like the design. I like that it has the handle in the back. You know, they're including the ground plug with all of their new power stations. So it does the job. It's small. What do you think? Post a comment in the comment section. I would love to hear what you have to say. And I hope this video was helpful in some way. And if it was, take a moment, give us a thumbs up. We'd really appreciate it. It actually helps the channel. And it actually helps our video get out so others can see it. And if you want to follow us on social media, we'll put up our channel right up there. We've got a couple of social media channels there, so you can follow us. And we do actually have another YouTube channel that's about Tesla. We got our Tesla in January. We got a Model 3. We're coming on to about 13,000 miles. We did some accessory reviews, and we're going to start putting up some videos on the buying experience. We're going to put up some videos on, going from a gas car to a Tesla, what could be some of the challenges or some of the pros. All right. But if you want to subscribe to our channel, I will put a little circle right there. With the TechMadeezy logo. Click on that and you can subscribe to our channel. And on the right, I will put some videos for some more power station reviews. Guys, thanks so much. Have a wonderful day.